Hey, Mickey.
Hi, Jamie. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. At least I'm not freezing up yet. My Zoom gives me trouble in the office.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, big time. But not from my house. And I keep getting like a message that says your internet connection is unstable, something like
Right.
that. Yeah. So we'll see
It's
what
probably your
happens.
internet connection there at the office is probably shaking,
That's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the office internet. Not too good.
Yeah, I was in there the other day,
Yeah.
in the tech area. Who was I sitting with? Man, my brain is going.
I've been in and out. Hello, Jeanette. Hello, Bob.
Hey, Jeanette. Hey, Barb. Barb, your listing was a good luck charm. I know you got it pending now, but I got 23 leads out of that from one Facebook ad.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, I started contacting some of them today.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, Travis. Uh-oh.
Yeah, 23. I just ran a new campaign on my listing in the condo in Clearwater, and I got 6 leads, and I started the whole process. They all got their first text today. So
Yeah, if you got something coming up or that just listed, send me the address. Um, I got those 23 leads and I spent $20, so I got about 80 cents per lead.
I know that's what I do generally. Yeah, I know it works good.
I like it.
So Mickey, I
No.
thought of you. I was out in Gulf Harbors and Florimar, within Gulf Harbors and all of those areas showing last weekend. And we made an offer. I'm waiting to hear back. We're in negotiations.
Well, I put Newport Richie up today, and it's under contract.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm excited. It's a really cute, nice
Right.
unit with the boat slip as well.
What's up, everybody?
Hi, Travis.
What's up, Travis?
How you doing?
Doing all right.
Awesome. Everyone's ready to get started, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna mute myself.
Yeah, no worries. Well, hey, before you mute yourself, how has the market been for everybody? What's, any multiple offer situations or any listings going under contract or anything like that since we talked on Monday?
My people are coming back. The people that were holding off on listings are ready to list. The people that were one drove down, one flew down, and others are coming. I think everyone has decided that if they're going to have to shelter in place or isolate or whatever, they want to be where they really want to be, and they're ready to make the move. And so Thank the maker. I'm so happy.
No, I agree. People are ready to just stop, living their lives. They just, everyone's tired of it and they're ready to move on.
Yeah, I'm the one having to keep them from touching things and put the mask on. I'm like, don't get sick.
You guys, can I ask you all a question? When you're going to show property, do you wear your mask and gloves? No, Travis? Bob, how about you?
I only wear the mask when it's requested.
Okay.
The client's wearing it, of course, because my clients were wearing it because there were a number of showings that requested it.
Yes.
And it's hot. It's really hot to wear it, and you can't hear people correctly. You don't know who's
I know.
I'm not used to it. I'm not it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
It was hot Saturday. I hate to say
know.
Like a champagne
bottle.
bottle.
Yeah. I have the gloves and the mask, and when I took the listing last week, my people didn't care, but they came this morning, we went looking at a property, and they did bring their gloves and masks just to be conscious of the other sellers. But I was surprised that like the agent, both agents, because I saw 2 different condos over there in Clearwater, and neither one of them had a mask on or gloves. I was just curious. I'm like,
I heard something about the gloves. Because the masks probably do some good because they at least protect the other people if you've got germy breath. But but the gloves, think about it. The gloves, if you don't change them every time you touch something, it's much better not to wear gloves and just keep washing your hands and disinfecting and try not to touch anything. I don't think I'm wearing the gloves anymore.
I agree with that. Okay. Yep.
I agree.
Look.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I got this box of gloves and it's still half full. I don't use them anymore. Just waste of money.
For me, it's all based on client preference. You know, I'm not assuming anything. I'm not judging anybody for wanting to do it. If I had pre-conditioned like respiratory illnesses, like I'd probably still be a little bit more worried.
Yeah.
You know, my personal opinion is that there's been way more people who have gotten this than what's being reported, and like it's still being a little over sensationalized in certain areas because it sells and drives clicks. We're like in a click-based society, you know, click the news article, and so much of it's instead of opinion, they call it analyst, or they analyze a piece. Like there's no like journalism, you know. And again, it's hard too though because so much of this is unknown. For me though, like if for us to go back to normal within the next 2 years, like the only like concrete thing I've seen is that a lot of people have to get it, you know, and the whole idea of stopping the curve was just so that hospital capacity wasn't overreached, and it's not looking like we're doing that. Americans have had more people die than any other country because we're a lot less healthy than a lot of first world countries, you know, sadly. So, you know, we should, you know, a national pandemic is like, you know, more people need to exercise and eat a little bit healthier, including myself. I'm just lucky with my genetics. Ever since COVID happened, I've jumped off the wagon, and, you know, like I started my new diet again today that I did really well at the beginning of the year. But, you know, as soon as the things are happening, you know, back to fried chicken and, you know, pizza and all that stuff all the time too. Like it's not sustainable, you know, as I get older. So, but it's all opinion. You know, I'm not going to judge anyone for having an opinion. If someone's trying to fear monger and make me feel one way, I can choose what I want to do, just like any of us can. And I'm glad to see people being more optimistic. And, you know, with that, like I'll jump right into some good news. So
good.
Let's get
enjoy that wonderful metabolism while you have it. Because I never thought it would ever catch up with me. And now at 56, I'm like, oh Lord, I'm fat. How did this happen?
It already has to an extent, like compared to, you know, when I was like 19, right? You know, 10 years later, but I'm sure it continues to happen.
Oh yes.
So, all right, so yeah, showings are continuing to increase week over week. Wait, can you see my showing time screen? I can't tell which one I'm sharing right now.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So we look again, the bottom here was around April 5th, April 6th. We were down 64% year over year. And now we're only down 1.8% as for the weekly average, which, you know, again, we're trending back up. Showings are almost back to the level what they were of last year, which is incredible. Honestly, it really is. And so I think some of the next numbers we're about to look at that aren't so great are going to be reflective after some of these showings turn into pendings and then closings accordingly, right? So, all right. So again, this is for Pinellas County. This is for all residential real estate. This is current month to date versus the month to date, the same period of time versus last year in 2019. And we're going up to 1.5 million in increments of 250,000. I'm going to say all of these out loud. If you're watching this on a recording, or after this, for those of you who are live, I'm going to post links to the PDFs that you can download in the KW Gulfside group,
Okay.
just so you know. So we're looking at price point by price point here, which you can look in the PDF. We're going to look at the overall market. So right now, there's only been 587 closed sales recorded versus 1,275 in the same period of time last year. Again, real estate agents a lot of times will close their deals out after they've closed. So this number is always lagging behind when we're looking at the data up to date. At the end of the month, this percentage won't hold. But right now, closed sales are still down about 50% or a little bit more. The median closing price is still up at 283,000 versus 277, 2.3%. And current inventory is still down 15% year over year. And look at this. Pending sales are up 0.9%, but I'll take it. So pending sales are up year over year. And going back to that, it doesn't surprise me. Like you said, people are booking booking flights down here, I think illegally in some cases, right? Technically legally. Well, they're not even supposed to be traveling here because they want to buy a condo, which is fine with me, as long as they're safe. Right? But people are doing that. I work next to Chris Rogers and his team, and they buy a ton of online leads. So they get a lot of out-of-state buyers. And a lot of their buyers in their database are like, hey, like, we're ready to come down. Or like, hey, we're ready to go. We're ready to pull the trigger and buy something. And again, to Barbara, I think you mentioned it. I would think our quarantine, right, or social distancing is a lot more attractive than being in certain states, especially if someone had to go through this during the winter. We've got golfing, fishing, running, parks, biking pretty much year round versus Minnesota or anywhere far north. It gets pretty cold. I couldn't imagine, having to be stuck in the house with 2 feet of snow, which are stuck either way, I guess. Not a great example, but you get the picture. Like, I think people would rather be down here than up there for that type of thing. So pending sales are up. New listings taken is still down 24%, but that number is going up from what we've seen before. And this number is down 1.9 months of inventory based on pending sales versus 2.3. So that number had been way up. And of course, it's still different in different price points, but that's really exciting too. And something to watch because still an abnormal market is an atypical market for inventory to be that low, for Pinellas County. And I'm going to stop the share real quick and let's have a conversation about those numbers and see what you all think.
Hey, Travis, was that last number pending sales? Because I was trying to look at it and then it went away. The last one you were talking about, that was 1.9%. Was that pending?
So yeah, pending sales are up 1%, and that was a month of inventory based on pending sales.
Months of inventory based on active, pending, and closed, or what?
So if you take the current active inventory right here, not current inventory here, 4144, and you're basing it off of pending sales, right? So like if you take 1,100 and I'm going to do the math on a calculator here because
but I guess I don't know if I'm still muted, but don't you use sold sales too when you're calculating months of supply, or am I just like totally off base here and I don't know what I'm not thinking about what you're talking about?
You absolutely do. But you can use pending sales as well. You can use either metric, and you can also include pending sales as active as well. It just depends on how you're looking at it.
Oh, okay. Okay. So in other words, yeah, because when I calculate, I usually use pending and active, anything that hasn't closed as active. And then I use, so this is a little different. I'm just trying to understand it. Sorry for
No, hey, thank you for actually bringing it up, because most people, if they don't like, in a lot of situations, if they don't understand it, like me being included, like in Gary's masterminds when I was first going to those, I just wouldn't ask because like I didn't want to like ask a silly question. But that's the thing with data. Depending on what your objective is, you can use it to paint whatever story you want to in certain cases, right? So the reason I've looked at this metric, months of inventory based on pending sales versus a sold, is because it's giving me an idea of where the market is right now, versus like what happened last month or even vice versa, because it depends how you do you do the metric. Like if you might take 3 months of the most recent 3 months and then average them out, and that might average 1,500 closed sales, and that could look a lot different. Like, so say we did 1,500 sales and we divided by 4,100, then you have a 37% absorption rate, right?
Yeah, I do it differently. I have a cheat, a quicker cheat. Like I just take my my solds for the year, divide them by 12, whatever it is. Let's say I just did one for a listing consult I have tonight, but let's say it's 13. Well, this one was actually very low, 2.6 per month on average sold. So then I just took the active and pendings, the total active and pendings, and which was, I forget what that was, 14. And so I 14 divided by 2.6, and it's 5.4 months of supply, right? Something like that. Yeah. And by the way, it's a balanced market, even in the, the higher price points over here, which was kind of encouraging to me. But anyway, go ahead. I'm going to mute myself.
No, don't mute yourself. Like everyone can be unmuted at this point. What I was saying is, like, say I just know in our market, right? Like here we have closed sales are at
Travis,
12.
we can.
Is my connection messing up?
We've got your beautiful family here that we've been admiring.
Oh my gosh, why didn't anyone say anything? Sorry. That would be funny on the recording.
That's why I jumped in. I was like, oh dear, I don't want to jump in, but I'm gonna.
No, please do that. I mean, it's not, this is just a conversation. This isn't a class.
Those little girls are so gorgeous. I love seeing them.
Yeah, everyone says that. So thank you. So back to where we're at here, like this column here, it's just based on, are we on the right screen now?
Yes, you are. Yes,
okay.
We can see now.
Yeah, so I'm just looking at pending sales because, say I take an average, I just know the market numbers. Like let's look at last month versus the same month. So let's look at current month today. Current month versus previous month. No, let's do current month versus same month last year. So we're going to look at April 2020 versus April 2019, okay? And then we're going to look at all properties, but we're going to look at, no, this isn't what I want to do. Okay. So if you can see here, like I'm about to add, like there's a bunch of metrics that I can compare with this. Like I can look at the sold to list price percentage, average days on market, etc. Right? But I can also look at months of inventory based on closed sales and look at how that looks different from pending sales. And depending on what software you're using or how this is, like I'm not sure exactly how it tabulated it, but I will take a look and I'll just show you one example of why that data can be misleading. But either way, these are similar, right? So in April 2020, when you base it on closed sales, Inventory was up to 2.91 versus 2.3, up 26%. That's why 2.9 to 2.3 doesn't seem like a big change, but 27% is a pretty big change. Based on pending sales, which is like the lagging indicator, not the closed sales, it was up nearly 40%. That's why sometimes the data can be deceiving depending on how you use it. So when we look at closed sales in units, we were at 1453 versus 2190, or down 33%. Okay, so that was a big difference as far as closed units go in April. If things would have continued like they were with the media, and say the death rate was higher and the restrictions weren't as lax as they've been, I would have seen this month's numbers being a lot different. I wouldn't have seen showings increasing like they have. But let's say, I'm sorry, I'm trying to do this without it. Okay, whatever. So there's 2,190 closed sales in 2019. So let's just say that was the entire year at 26,000 sales. So if you're averaging that on 12 months, right, you divide it by 12, you get 2,100 sales. If you would have done that, right, versus 1453 that we had last month compared to our inventory, I'm just saying if you're looking at the whole market, there were 4,200 homes for sale. So if you do 2,190 divided by 4261, you would have had a 51% absorption rate, okay, or 2 months of supply. Versus if you did 1453 and you divided it by 4261, which is based on sales of last month, instead of doing a 12-month average, then your absorption rate would have only been 34%, or down nearly, I don't know, 16%. So 100 divided by 34 is 3 months of supply. So, you know, you go from 2 months to 3 months, which is what this showed you here based on pending sales. And that's the whole reason why I started looking for data that shows what's happening when a market's reacting quickly. It's atypical for there to be a pandemic. That doesn't happen all the time, right? At this scale, you know, it's never happened in any of our lifetimes at this scale, right? It's never happened in any modern time in history. You know, the closest thing we had was back in the, what was it, the 20s or 10s with the Spanish flu.
1918.
1918, right? And it happened over 2 or 3 years with different waves or whatever. So that's the only really data that we have. And that's why I looked at this. Again, if you tell your seller that there's 2 months of supply based on an average of 2,000 homes selling per month, or 200, whatever it is in your market, well, that can be misleading for you when you're pricing it, you know, because then you can list it and you're like, oh, why isn't it selling? Because the market's changed just in the past month. Now, what's good is the market's improved dramatically in the past few weeks. That's great. I'm never going to recommend a price super optimistic. I want to be aggressive with my pricing. And like Gary Ubaldini always will say, with proper marketing, the market will dictate what the fair price of the home is, right? Now, of course, if you have a unique property, you know, it might take a little bit longer to sell than a typical property within a month or, you know, 25 days or whatever. But I mean, that's why we come in and we're not being replaced by robots or artificial intelligence or machine learning yet, because we can make decisions and analysis based on data that computers can't put together yet, right? And distinguish. Real estate's not that black and white that some other industries have been. So I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense, Barb, why I looked at it with that data?
Yep.
Yeah, overall, good news. And I saw something that someone posted about, like, if you were born in 1900, like by the time you had got to, like, I don't know, 60, you had gone through like 2 world wars, you know, Spanish flu, you might have been dropped off in, you know, or there's Vietnam and all these crazy things and deaths and race wars and just, you know, such a different life. We should really be grateful for what we have now. Man,
Oh, yeah.
man, am I grateful. Am I grateful to live where we live? to be able
You
to
only
work.
get a global pandemic once every 100 years. So it was due.
Yeah, and we can increase our knowledge as far as how to fight viruses. Maybe get rid of that pesky cold that gets us every year, or the flu, whatever it is. Good can come out of this, and I think good has come out of it. All of us are using Zoom to do a call, and all in the comfort of our homes for the most part, except for Mickey and I right now, we're at the office. But that's just because when I'm at home, I can't work, because I've got the cute little girls distracting me.
That's right.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What are you seeing? This is a question about a listing I just put on last week. It's a condo. I'm trying not to make this the Mickey show, guys. I just have a quick question regarding the numbers. I had no showing I did have one scheduled and they canceled.
Let's do this, Mickey.
Okay.
What's the price of the condo?
$220.
Perfect. All right, so let's go 200, 250. We're gonna look 200 to 250, and we're gonna look at increments of, I don't know, 10 grand.
Okay.
And where's it at?
Clearwater?
And it's a condo?
Yes.
Okay.
Did that already.
All right. And okay. So we're looking at all of Pinellas County right now.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And we just did, that's why I love this software. I just broke it down immediately. This is exactly what I would show the seller. Right now we're at county level because I want to have a lot of data because we're getting really specific on what we're doing, and we're in $10,000 increments. And a lot of times condominium buyers will be from out of town. That market, it definitely isn't as robust as it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And there still are a lot of people who buy condos in town as well. So it's just not non-local markets. There's local buyers as well. So right now, for pending sales, in April, there were 22 overall in that price range of all of Pinellas County.
Yep.
And there were 133 active units.
Okay.
So inventory had gone up based on pending sales from 2.8 to 6 months. You see the difference in that metric,
Yes.
Barbara? 2.8, up 114.3%. When you look at the closed sales, oh wow, we're only up 27%. So sellers like, oh, I can be a little aggressive with my pricing.
Mm-hmm.
Here, I don't know. But let's take that same data and see how the market's reacting this month.
Fuck this happened.
And we're going to do current month to date
Okay.
versus month to date last year. And again, a lot of this data isn't completely accurate because agents haven't closed out sales and haven't activated listings, etc.
Okay.
Based on pending sales, we're doing a lot better than we were before. We're at 3.1 versus 2.7. But when you look at closed sales, it's different. There's that 6.2. You see the pending is the first indicator. The closed sales lag behind because pendings come first. That's why I like to look at the pendings with this. And then you see, look what happened to the inventory based on closed sales last month. Of course, or not last month, this month, because the pendings were last month, so the closings are this month, and that's why the percentage went up. But then again, we look at current pendings. In the past month, Mickey, or whenever the period, I could literally do it by the period you listed it. There had been 2 from 200 to 209, 5 from 210 to 219, 5 in the next bracket, 5, 7, 24 pendings. We're only down 11% year over year. When we look at new competition, there's been 23 new condos enter the market that you're competing against. And when we look at current inventory, there's 135. So what I would do is just look at which condos have gone under contract in these price points.
Yep.
And what does our new competition look like? And what city are you in?
Clearwater.
That's right. You said that. I'm sorry. So
That's okay.
So we could just go and do Clearwater, and we could do Largo, and we can come back up here and do Dunedin. Let's do 3 different markets, but let's just keep some more data. Dunedin, and there's not many condos in any of these areas really. Like in Dunedin and Largo, there's a lot on top of the world for this. So, okay. So now we just narrowed it down and we have a different look. 4.1 months based on pending sales versus 1.7, 20.3 months versus 4 months. Holy moly, right? And that's breaking it down to Clearwater, Largo, and Dunedin. There's 37 active listings and only 5 of them have gone under contract, but only 3 have come to the market. So what that shows me is that for whatever reason in this price point, condos are sitting. So
Condos are sitting at that price point? Okay.
well, that's what this shows me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've only and I don't know which one of these is in Clearwater or Dunedin or Largo. I haven't narrowed it down, but
Sure.
For fun, let's go ahead and do that. We'll get rid of Dunedin, and I wish they had a search feature with this. It'd be a little bit easier to use. Get rid of Largo, and now we're just going to look at Clearwater and see how that looks. When you start narrowing it down very specific with like an analysis like this, it can paint the wrong picture sometimes because it's such a small pool of data. But again, same thing, 12 months of supply based on pending inventory. There were no sales recorded so far in this price point. So that's kind of irrelevant as far as that goes. It is interesting. 3 new listings and only 1's gone under contract in Clearwater between 200 and 249,999 for that. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of your answer,
Okay.
Nikki.
Okay.
Nothing's going under contract in that price. So if the seller wants to sell within the next few weeks, you just continue to watch what the market's doing and be more aggressive on pricing. If that's
So
the case.
then, so I'm not going to get alarmed since we didn't have any showings this week.
Yeah.
I'm just watching our competition. All right, Travis, I appreciate that. This is cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, you gotta have you got to have adequate market exposure. Like, how long has it been?
A week.
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed that the percentage of contracts compared to showings has increased dramatically for us for our listings. You know,
Say that again, Travis. What was that?
like the percentage of contracts received compared to the number of showings has increased dramatically. Like, say before it might be 10 to 1 for every 10 showings you'd have 1 offer.
Okay.
And it all depends on the listing and the area and a multitude of factors, but just overall. And now it might be 10 to 4 or 4 to 10 to where
Okay.
if you have 10 showings, you'll get 4 offers. One listing, we had a single family in Largo. We had, I don't know, like 6 showings over a month and 5 offers. But, you know, 4 of the offers backed out before we even ever got to inspections. And we never even executed them because that kept happening. So,
Okay.
you know, we just were vetting our offers in a higher fashion. It just depends. I mean,
Yeah.
Jeanette, I mean, you've been working in a very specific market, right? Like in condominiums and higher price point. And I think it just all comes down to the location and price point, no matter what market you're in. Even when you look back in 2006 and 2007, when inventory went from 5 months to 30, certain homes still sold. You know, if you were in an area
Yep.
that wasn't as desirable, you just had to be priced aggressively, and you lost
Absolutely.
more equity than the homes that were in the more desirable areas.
Yeah, right now I have a very high-end buyer, and boy, I've been working with a lot of buyers recently, and I've got 2 that are real specific, and he's one of them. And I'm looking at the MLS 3 times a day.
Nothing.
I'm like, where's the house? Where's the house? Where's the house? And and he's like, oh, it's going to drop. It's going to drop. People are going to start getting desperate. And I want to say, oh, really? But I had a conversation with him today and said, you know, it's still a seller's market here. Even in the above, you know, even in the 1.5 million and above.
Sure.
So,
I mean, yes, like like certainly, yeah, like what I'm looking at is, yeah, there's
waterfront property,
yeah.
$2 million.
Yeah, we could jump, there's not time to do it now, but yeah, we could jump into that. I'm sure you've done the research, you know it. Yeah, like Pinellas County is a very desirable area.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
our market's going to react differently than the national market. That's true for any market, you know. A lot of other markets have more seasonality than our markets do.
Yep.
You know, because of the winter. You know, you can't even paint a home during the winter. I found out. I thought that was weird, but yeah, you can't do that.
Well, and they're still holed up, and so they're the other reason that he's so excited is he's sitting around looking all day long, every day. It's his dream to come here. He has an opportunity to do this. He's got $2 million killing him. And, you know, well, he's being really nice about it, which is wonderful. But he's like, what the hell? There's nothing out there. I mean, in the last 2 weeks, nothing.
I mean, don't be scared to, to write, you know, offers that would be considered lowball compared to what they used to be because of market uncertainty. Yet, if there's nothing to write an offer on, you know, it is what it is. Like,
Right.
And that's always been our market here. You know, 2 months of supply is not normal. Even in 2006, when I was looking at the numbers, like going back to those, and we could do it on a different day where we just look at how that market's compared. You still had 4 months of inventory. You still had 6,000, 7,000 listings for sale. You know, like prices were jumping up rapidly and people were getting approved for a lot and appreciation was jumping up and people were paying more, but we're almost under 4,000 listings. Like if we get into the 3,000s, that's crazy. There's 500,000 addresses in Pinellas County, you know, so.
Interesting, Travis. I just had a higher end client and they wanted, they asked me, and of course I did it for them, to analyze $1 million and up condos in the whole area, fourth quarter versus first quarter. And I did it. And, you know, interestingly enough, it was better first quarter. The sales, sales were better. I mean, there were more sales and the median price was higher and I was kind of blown away, to be honest. I mean, that includes downtown St. Pete when I did it for Pinellas. And, you know, there's a lot of new construction down there, but still new construction is affected by COVID too.
Yeah, I mean,
it did affect some of March, which was in first quarter. So it was kind of interesting.
When I haven't worked in a ton of luxury stuff, you know, mainly because our marketing hasn't been focusing on it. You know, we probably should. You know, it's the quickest way to increase how much money you make with time spent. So kudos to you, Jeanette, for, you know, jumping right, you know, in there. You know,
that's just nothing but God's grace.
Hey, there you go. You know, but that type of mindset is why those people in that you know, and that level of wealth, you know, work with you as well. Like they didn't get there, you know, without hard work and, you know, realizing that they're blessed and, you know, helping others. So waterfront, you know, versus a non-waterfront, that's a big difference. Like when I had that St. Pete house, Barb, that we, you know, had the big broker open on and was like a fortress. And I was like literally about to hire a video production company to make it look like the, Winterfell Castle and Game of Thrones and hopefully get a viral video. That's literally what I was about to do to sell it. I'm like, man, I got to do something. And that would have been a good idea, right? I think that would have worked. But I didn't have to do it. But the amount of supply for waterfront versus non-waterfront in that price point, like over 800, was significantly different, you know, like a 9-month difference. You know, that's it. When you move to Florida, when I buy a house, that's like a house that if I could pick any features that I would have, yeah, I'd have an elevated waterfront house with deep water. I love going out on the water. I love going wakeboarding. I love going fishing. I love just taking the kayaks out if I want to in the intercoastal. You know, an ideal house for me, I'd have one house on the Gulf, right, on the sand, for my family. And then I'd have a lot on the other side with my dock in the intercoastal. And they have some properties like that on Indian Rocks Beach that I was scoping out for like a dream house. Or, you know, and I would have to have a house like in the mainland too, but this is just be excessive. I might have a house on the farthest north end of Clearwater Beach that I think the Eckert family owns, where you have intercoastal and you have Gulf and the line's cut and you can just, it's your whole property. It's your little tip of Clearwater Beach. But I mean, who knows how much that would go for on the open market, you know, $10 million, $15 million, 20, who knows?
Put it on your vision board, Travis.
Well, Martha Thorne has one on Indian Shores right now. It's Gulf Front, and it has a dock on the other side of Gulf Boulevard. It's over there by Sandcastle 3.
Okay, yeah.
I keep thinking about it for my client. It's not going to work. He wants intercoastal. He wants a big old boat. So.
Yeah, that's it. Maybe, you know, and those are real specific things. So versus like, okay, I have a multi-million-dollar house on a, you know, even a bigger lot, 200 by 200. The house is still going to take up the entire lot pretty much. And it's just, it's not attractive to me. I don't need that much house. You know, it's about the access to water and entertaining my friends. And when people come down, we can go golfing or play basketball, but then we can also go back and go out on the water, you know, or you know, hang out in the pool. So,
yeah.
Hey, I've got to run. This is always fun.
Thank you, Travis.
Hey, thank you. Mickey, hope you have a great week. Jeanette, you as well. Jamie, Barbara, Andy. And if you all ever have any questions or want me to run one of these market updates like I did with you, Mickey, just shoot me a message. Be happy to.
Yeah, Travis, I like that. I want that one. Thank you.
All right. See
All
ya.
right, bye. Bye, guys.
Take care, guys.